guys, Robert Maxwell with the Man Factory.
And I'm Joe Maxwell, his brother.
And today we're going to be doing a high volume squat workout together here at the original basement gym that we first called the Man Factory. My brother Joe is back from University of Tennessee for the summer, so it's going to be good for us to have the chance to work out together again, as we used to do often. And today we've decided that we both want to hit some high volume on the squats. So why don't you talk a little bit, Joseph, about why we would want to do that? Why do we want to switch to high volume today?
Yeah. Well, for me, I just finished my track and field season at the University of Tennessee, and we cut back on the volume as we got into our championship meets, which were a couple weeks ago, the last one. So that's good because it allows for higher performance. When you cut that volume, your body feels a lot more fresh and just ready to perform well. But once that season is over, you have to get back into some volume to rebuild that foundation for a new season. So that's what we're starting today.
Right. Well, and as everyone who has built any serious amount of strength and muscle knows, when it comes to getting stronger in any of the major barbell movements and translating that strength to, in your case, to your sport, of course, your throwing sports, there's only really two ways you can get stronger. You either achieve more mastery, a higher degree of mastery and proficiency at the lifts, or you add more muscle. And so today, switching to high volume, one of the biggest advantages of it is that you do it long enough and you eat enough food and you're going to add more muscle, right?
Yeah, absolutely, which is a very important part of my sport. Basically, the more mass you can have, the more muscle, the more strength, the further you're going to throw. So
if you have a higher body mass, the relative weight you're moving is lighter compared to that body mass, and so it's going to be easier to move. So, of course, elite power lifters have these, crazy multiples. They're moving like 4 times their body weight in some cases. In our case, we're not really interested in that. We're just interested in getting big and strong and translating that into specific strength in your case, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay, well, we're going to finish our warm-ups here, and then we're going to get in the squat rack. So you can tune in and watch us struggle with this high volume work that neither of us have done in a while.
Yeah, let's get to it. Got our first working set here.
So we've both done a couple sets, this high volume, sets of 12. You're going a bit heavier than I am because my younger brother, I have to admit, has always been stronger on the squat than I have been, and I'm proud of him for it. But we're both kind of approaching closer to what's a challenging weight for us at these 12 rep sets.
Yeah.
And right now we're both feeling not so much a strain in the leg muscles, the quadriceps or the hamstrings, or even the glutes, but what we're feeling is the limit of conditioning, since neither of us have done sets quite this high in volume for a while.
Yeah.
Just the breathlessness, the sweat pouring down your neck and head. But it's a good thing because that's what it's all about, and we want to get our conditioning back and set the stage with this high volume work for eventually really heavy, super strong, low volume work later by putting on more muscle and improving that conditioning. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it sounds about right. At this point, you have the lower rep stuff, which is more of a challenge on the muscles themselves, but this higher rep stuff, which doesn't, at least right now, isn't bothering my muscles so much as just my lungs and my conditioning. So it's not a big deal. It'll come back pretty quickly as we get it into a few weeks into this block of training. So
right, yeah. And this may not be the experience that every lifter has. Like Joseph's 250, I'm 240, so right now we're just every time we're moving, in addition to the weight on the barbell, we're moving a lot of body weight, which makes it tougher on your conditioning too. But that's one reason why every athlete, in my opinion, large or not, shouldn't neglect some sort of conditioning work, because it does affect what you're able to do in the gym and the muscle you're able to put on ultimately. Yeah. So sometimes in the middle of a tough workout like this, something randomly tightens up. What's going on right now?
Well, I set my rear delt on my right side, just kind of tightened up a little bit. Just kind of the position that my upper body's in when I'm squatting. I think it's just because I haven't been under a bar in a couple weeks, so nothing too major, just gotta loosen it up.
Yep. And that's just par for the course. Inexperienced lifters, novice trainees, they feel something like that. They probably think something's wrong and that they're injured. They might stop the workout. But part of having experience is knowing how to discern between what's actually an injury that you should stop or at least lighten up the load versus something where it's really nothing and you just need to stretch a little bit.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the keys to being an athlete at a high level, is knowing what to train through and knowing what to take a step back with and rest for a while. So, yeah, just a skill you need to learn.
All right, last set here, 275. All right, let's go. Come on, keep pushing. Come on. Come on, let's go.
$335 for 12. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Should we call 911?
Just about.
Okay, so we just finished 4 sets of squats each. We each got our 12 reps. Joseph got 335 for 12 on his final set. And I got 275, which was a PR for me, not a PR for you, but we're both pretty happy with our performance and both feeling like wet paper bags. What are you feeling like right now?
Pretty tired. I think it was just the matter of, on that last set, taking enough time to make sure I got those last few reps. Just take a few breaths and get them, because I know I have the strength too. So.
Yeah, well, and that's what often comes to light when you're doing high volume work like this, especially when you've built up a fair base of strength and size. It's not so much about strength or lack of. It's about if you can, flood enough oxygen into your body as you're struggling and in pain to finish those last 2 or 3 or 4 reps, which we both managed to do today. Good job.
Yeah, you too.
So talking about that competition spirit, that fire that sometimes takes effect, that allows you to temporarily do a whole lot more weight when you're all fired up and jacked up. I feel like in my own training, because 9 times out of 10 I'm training solo, I haven't yet fully tapped into that. I'm trying to figure out a way to do that. Whereas in your case, in training with the track team, you'd benefit from that, that team camaraderie that fires you up in a group setting. And I know I've experienced it enough, even just in our training together and training with other guys the odd time, that it definitely does exist, feeling more energy and temporarily feeling more strength, just feeling really fired up by like-minded people around you in that workout with you, definitely is a thing. But I'm trying to figure out how I can kind of harness that when most times I'm training down here and training solo. What do you think about that as a guy who benefits from that?
Yeah, well, I think, having people around does make a big difference, and it can be hard to get into that same place mentally when you're, just training by yourself rather than having a team. Like today I did 335 for 12, and that was pretty close to my limit of what I could have done today. But I know earlier in the year we did a rep test, and I had my whole team there kind of cheering me on, and I did 385 for 13. So
50 pounds more.
Yeah,
for,
heavier
for
and
one
another
more
rep.
Yeah.
And it's not that I was stronger then or in any better shape, but it's just that having people there kind of yelling for you and believing in you mentally can allow you to perform better in that moment. And I've noticed that with my throws training, just regular training throws compared to competition. I'm quite a bit further when I'm in that competitive setting. But I really think it's just a mindset, and you can get to that place when you're by yourself. It's just learning what kind of triggers that adrenaline rush for you, and you don't necessarily need other people with you to get that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, maybe I just need to develop multiple personalities in my head, and kind of like Gollum. Yeah. By the way, would you just treat us to a bit of your Gollum voice?
Stupid fat Tobbit!
That is Gollum. Gollum is in this gym with us right now, ladies and gentlemen, and he just squatted 335 for an easy 12. So we just finished our high volume workout. First training session Joe and I have had the chance to do together for a long time, and it felt pretty good. High volume stuff's always tough to get back into when you haven't done it for a while, as we experienced, but after the squats we didn't go super heavy on any of our assistance movements, just so we can kind of ease back into it. So reactions, thoughts, feelings, what do you think?
Yeah, well, certainly not easy, maybe even a little harder than I thought it would be, especially the conditioning side of it. But this work at this time of the year is kind of necessary to build a foundation to have a good season later on for me, and I know for you to put on muscle and strength later on in the year. So
Definitely. Well,
difficult but necessary.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good way to put it. Oftentimes what it's easy to forget is that if your goal is to achieve maximal strength, that would naturally translate to lifting heavy weights for low volume and small numbers of repetitions. But if you do that all the time, you're not going to be lifting near as much as you could be, because you're not working on your conditioning and you're not putting on sufficient muscle mass to max out your potential. So that's where this high volume work comes in. It's essential, and although it feels tough, we're enjoying the brotherly camaraderie of tackling it together today. So thanks for watching. Hope you found this video interesting, informative, and entertaining, and I'll see you next time.